As you learn about the narcissistic pattern, it's also wise to reflect on the much healthier alternatives. Now, below you're going to find a link to my new extensive course called Ready, Set, Connect. It addresses both the mindset and the skills involved in gratifying relationships, and I hope you'll find it to be quite therapeutic. For those of you who have had a long, ongoing relationship with a narcissist, whether it's inside your home or extended family or friendships or work or other kind of places, you know that there can be times when you just have this increasing sense of futility and weariness, the sense that says, this just isn't working very well, and I don't know that I'm interested in continuing in whatever it is that we have. Let's understand that when narcissists engage with you, they engage with a very powerful sense of neediness. Now, over time, that neediness becomes more and more apparent. In the beginning stages of any relationship, it's normal to say, well, we have wants that we have with each other. But narcissists don't just have wants. They have a profound need to have you fit an agenda that's going to suit their narrative. For example, they need your affirmation, and they're very hungry for it. We all have a desire for affirmation, but theirs goes beyond that. They need tight agreement to their agenda. They need to have a feeling of superiority and dominance, which is why they always have the best opinion or the best way to do things. They can't possibly think that other people might have ways that would be better than theirs. They can't think that way. They need what your reputation might provide. For example, if you're well known in a community or people like you, it's like, well, I want to latch onto that. And so they try to latch on in that kind of way. They need you to buy into their illogic. There are many times when you want to talk with them about certain impressions or interpretations or the way that we do things, and they have their own little agenda, and it's like, no, you have to just go along with whatever I say, no matter how illogical or emotionally tinged that it might be. They need your compliance. They need your submission. They need you to be an enabler to their dysfunctional way of life. And I know it can wear you out. Now, along with this real strong neediness that they bring to the equation comes all sorts of undesirable traits. Now, at times, the narcissist may have the love bombing or the let me do favors for you kind of mindset, because they'll want to bring you into their zone. And so if they do nice things, over time you begin realizing, okay, I know there's a hook here, and you're on to it. Then over time you begin seeing how critical they actually are. They can have episodes of anger with you. Sometimes it can go into real strong rage. Other times the anger is more muffled, and you just feel like there's this underlying sense of tension that they carry. They don't say it, but you just know it and you feel it. Too many times that narcissist becomes more complaining or griping. You wind up being in circular arguments. Kind of wears you out just thinking about it, doesn't it? Sometimes you have to listen to what I call their stupid salesmanship. How many times has a narcissist tried to plead their case with you or convince you that you have to think or do things as they say? It's like, I don't want you to sell me on whatever it is you're trying to peddle, but they'll do that and it wears you out. They use twisted logic. They have hurt feelings when you don't say or do things precisely in the way that their neediness requires. You have this constant walking on eggshell feelings. They may give you the silent treatment. In other words, there are times when you have these ongoing engagements with a narcissist, and all of this that I'm mentioning leads you to that conclusion: I'm not interested in this anymore. You might ask yourself, now, exactly what's the upside to my relationship with this person? Is this person contributing? in a positive way to my quality of life? Am I a better person because of my association with this individual? Do I feel appreciated by this person, or am I just being used? And once I'm used up, I'm just going to be dismissed? Is this somebody that would have my back when that time might come along? And as you begin pondering those kind of questions, again, it reinforces that question inside of you: what am I doing here? You may go back and you may try to discuss some of your feelings with that narcissistic person. Sometimes you'll withdraw. You'll recognize that as your feelings and your sense of discomfort become more known, typically the narcissist will double down and explain why you're wrong and you need to come over to their way of thinking. It's like, no, you have to give me what I need, because that's just that's their beginning point with you. Now, over time, as you begin just settling into that kind of feeling, I'm tired of this, I'm no longer interested in playing all the games that this implies, the narcissist is taking note, and they're thinking, I can't let you get away with feeling like you're better than me, which is how they interpret that. They're not going to go away typically without a peep. Basically, as time goes on, they begin taking the notion that says, well, I'm going to bring you down before you have a chance to bring me down. And very commonly then, they begin thinking within themselves, I have to stay in the one-up position, which means you can't one-up me. Or you begin realizing no matter how many times you try to discuss your concerns with them, these individuals just can't be objective about it at all. They'll become very subjective, which means that they wind up having a very low level of empathy and a very high level of entitlement in the way that they engage with you. And then they convince themselves, despite whatever the facts will say, they're the victim. Look at what you've done to me. Look at how many nice things that I've done for you, and all I get is your disinterest in return to me. You're just an ungrateful kind of person. And all the while you're thinking, no, I've been trying really hard to be the nice person or the glue or the one who's trying to be objective, and it's just not working. Understand that when you get to that place where your interest in perpetuating all of this dysfunction has just become too unbearable, let's understand narcissists feel like they have to have the final word. It's their way of trying to hold on to some vestige of superiority over you. And one of the things you've probably heard me say in other videos, when you have crisis or conflict or difference, that's when you get to see the fullness of a person's character. Character isn't necessarily revealed when everything is going wonderful. Character is revealed when we have some strain or differences or difficulties, and then in our maturity or lack of, then we bring our real selves to the equation and say, well, what are we going to do with our differences? In the case of the narcissist, they just go straight back into that needy, demanding mode, and they remind you of your defectiveness. And then you're over there thinking, if I'm so defective, why are you still requiring my allegiance then? In healthy relationships, there's a nice ebb and flow that we can have whenever our differences come along. Let's start with one huge thought, and that is there's no such thing as a perfect relationship. And so when you enter into any kind of ongoing relationship with a person, you just start with the assumption that says over time our differences are going to come up, and we'll notice as we go along what does work and what does not work. We can remain honest and open with each other about what our thoughts and needs and perceptions are. We can discuss ways that we can understand each other more fully and how we can make improvements. By the way, we call that the maturation and the growth process. And in the end, as we have our differences and our lack of perfection, we can actually create an atmosphere of trust. We can build bonds even in the midst of our differences, and we can actually find a deeper sense of connection. Does that sound like anything that a narcissist knows how to do? Unfortunately, no. We are going to say differences are inevitable, but human beings are not commodities to be used. Instead of thinking, well, you didn't give me what I want, so I'm just going to discard you and I'm going to go to someone else. Instead of thinking that way, it's like, well, as we know each other, we can each grow and mature because of that. I'll learn to give you respect and you can give me respect in reverse, and we can have a benefit because of that. Narcissists can't think that way. So when it comes time for you to say, you know, my interest is so weak that I'm just not at that place, expect the fact that the narcissists are going to say, well, if that's the case, then you're going to pay because you're not meeting my needs. They require you to be the enabler. And let's just also say, knowing that that's how they're going to do, you're not being unreasonable when you say, you know, I don't want to continue on with this. And then when they go straight back into that blame and accusation and trying to force you into some role that you don't want to play, and they put guilt and shame onto you, you know what my reaction to all of that would then ultimately be? You're proving my point. Now, that's an insight, that's an awareness that they'll never pick up on, but I hope that you can listen to what your gut tells you and you can practice self-care. It would be nice if you could have interpersonal ways of making these kind of difficulties go away or growing as a result of them. But in the lack of the interpersonal possibilities, intrapersonally within yourself, you can resolve. You can take the resolve that says, I'm going to use my disinterest in this relationship to become an even deeper person of integrity and good character. That's where I'm going. Now, I hope that videos such as this can give you some good awareness about what you're dealing with. The more you understand the nature of a relationship with somebody who's highly narcissistic, the more you're able to make informed decisions for yourself. If you've not already hit the subscribe button and the notification bell that goes along with it, I would encourage you to do so. Many times when you're dealing with these kind of situations, you could use a therapist that could help you sift it out. I'm so pleased that we're sponsored by the people at BetterHelp.com. There's a link below, and if you have a desire or a need for online therapy, which is very popular and has proven to be quite effective these days, then go through our link, and then there's a whole team of licensed professional therapists that you could select from. I have my therapeutic courses. And each one has multiples of videos and written materials and questions that will guide you towards a therapeutic goal. We have Ready, Set, Connect about making good connection skills. This is me about establishing boundaries. We have Free to Be about finding yourself despite the controllers. We also have a new podcast now that's up and coming. And we have my books and other resources. And I do appreciate it when you allow me to be on your journey with you. You know, you can get to the point to where you can say, okay, I've seen enough. I've got to move on for my own sake of well-being. Brace yourself, because narcissists aren't going to take it well. But then, like I say, that illustrates why I'm needing to make the decision that I'm making anyway. And in the meantime, I'm hoping you can commit yourself to being a person of dignity, respect, and civility, because it's ingredients such as that that will take you to your place of peace.